Jubilation, lake beans.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey-yo. And last but not least, over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Oh, hello.
There he is. Here we are. Shout out to the stream team joining us live right now on YouTube. Get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. And all you podcast listeners, leave your boys a 5-star rating and review. Once you're done with this classic, check out the brand new episode of No Bunts with Tass and Joel, dissecting the Aaron Judge quote-unquote cheating controversy.
We got a real beef in baseball. It's
Awesome.
a baseball beef. The last two nights, yelling, managers yelling. One manager saying, "Shut up, fat boy." Did Judge cheat? I don't really think so at all. It's baseball. You steal signals. Anyways, that was a fun one with Joel. We also built our own custom stadiums in a little fun draft. JD, Joel, and I. JD calling me out from the beginning because I rigged the draft a little bit. Whatever. All good.
Everybody's doing it.
All right, well, go check that out. No Bunts. It's up on the Athletic Baseball Show feed on YouTube and wherever you download and listen to podcasts. But we got lots to tackle here. We got an NBA draft lottery to get into. Doc Rivers was fired a day later than we thought, but he was. And, of course, we've got game one of the Western Conference Finals, which we start with Jokic leading the Nuggets past the Lakers 132-126 in a very entertaining game one of the Western Conference Finals.
Well, we'll start with the fact that, yes, it was entertaining. It felt like the Nuggets were going to run away with this thing. It almost feels like the Lakers won in a way. That's what I leave this game feeling. Not that they won, but because it felt like it was done, it was a blowout kind of feeling with Jokic running over everything, and then the Lakers figuring something out with taking AD off Jokic to be that roamer that was so great in the first couple rounds. I didn't think there would be anyone that they could take him or put him on to be that roamer, but they put him on the guy who shoots the fewest threes in Aaron Gordon and Rui Hachimura. That was a pickup to guard Nikola Jokic. So it feels like they figured something out there. I know you guys rolled your eyes when I said it feels like the Lakers won.
I think the stream team Lakers fans are getting to you, Tass. You just said the Lakers won a game that they lost.
I didn't say that, but I said
it felt like it.
It felt like it. Yeah, I mean, after the Jokic was bringing up the ball, it was awesome throughout the first half, and they stopped that by putting a smaller guy on him. And I mean, they were phenomenal. 72 points in that first half. Jokic doing what he did, and I mean, I thought Jokic could have even been better. Listen, I took the Nuggets in this series. They stole game one. But in a loss, does that not feel like the Lakers can pinpoint some things, like LeBron going at smaller guys, LeBron picking his guys? I think he felt like he can go at Jokic. I just want this to be a series, Trey. That's all I'm saying. I just want this to be a series. And does it not feel like it's fairly even at this point?
Well, they can't stop each other. There's that part. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Rui Hachimura is the Jokic stopper. I'll say that right now. Slick move. It worked for a couple possessions. AD roaming, like you said, couple turnovers. But I'd love to see them try that for an entire game and watch Jokic absolutely abuse them. And you'll have counters from the Nuggets and Malone. There was even some in this game that they even tried after that switch of Rui on Jokic, where you're right, AD's roaming because he's not worried about Aaron Gordon, but then they had Aaron Gordon send like a back screen to open KCP, and that worked, and he missed on a three and stuff like that. But yeah, this is going to be entertaining because both these teams can score in bunches here, but Jokic was a monster in this game.
Man.
Just a monster.
Yeah, I feel a little rebound inflation, definitely for Nikola Jokic. 34 points, 21 rebounds. I would love to see it broken down by rebound chances, because there's so many times when he's just playing volleyball at the rim, which is how you get to 6 offensive rebounds. Sometimes he was getting 2 or 3 on a possession, but man, that's like the definition of basketball out there. That was awesome. That was, I don't know, maybe the best game of the playoffs so far. Just the way they were going back and forth. The second quarter, it felt like every single play was a highlight on either end of the court. Like, Anthony Davis stuffed Jokic on a jumper. It looked like a Wilt Chamberlain block that you would see if the photo was in black and white, how stretched out he was to get to Jokic. It was incredible. And really the difference came down to, like, Jokic hitting a miracle shot and Jamal Murray hitting a miracle shot. And that was the split in the game here. It was a 6-point game. That was 5 points right there, but it was really a tale of two halves from a pace perspective for the most part. First half was complete Nuggets mode. End-to-end basketball. They really took advantage of the altitude. I feel like it's hard to beat them in a game one. 17-6 lead for Denver in fast break points in the first half. 16-8 second chance points. 30-24 points in the paint. The compost crew, they came through, up in the energy, getting back and forth. That was perfect Denver Nuggets basketball. The second half, it was Lakers mode. Bully ball. They really controlled the pace with LeBron hunting down Jamal Murray and getting into the post so many times. They flipped the fast break points. 7-2 for the Lakers. Second chance points. It was over for the Nuggets. 5-2 for the Lakers. They started scoring in the paint because LeBron was there every time. 24-20 for the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell didn't play very much. We saw a little bit more Jared Vanderbilt. We saw a lot more Rui Hachimura. It was awesome. It was like we saw in-game adjustments from both teams in game one of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it was just, that's how you do it. That's why we go through 82 games of players resting, of MVP debates in March to see the two awesome teams go head to head and all of their stars play well. Everybody played well in this game, except for D'Angelo Russell, pretty much.
A lot of guys. I love the big man battle. That was tremendous television. You said that block that AD had on Jokic, the little baby hook, and then a few possessions later, Jokic spinning baseline on AD and doing the quick dunk. I mean, they were just going back and forth there. Statitudes was a crazy stat. Jokic and AD, the first pair of opposing starting centers to score at least 30 points in the same playoff game since Akeem Olajuwon and Shaq back in 1995. So Jokic with the monster line, his 6th triple-double of the playoffs, 34 points, 21 boards, 14 assists. And then AD, not bad either, 40 and 10.
I couldn't believe he had 40 when I looked at the box score again this morning. What?
Yeah.
I mean, he never missed a shot, it felt like. He hit so many floaters.
Yeah. And that's why, I guess, going back to your initial point, Tass, you have Lakers fans going, well, the Nuggets aren't going to play that well. They're not going to shoot that well again. And then Nuggets fans, I think, rightfully also saying the same thing. Well, it's AD. That's probably AD's best game. Maybe that's his best game we see in the entire series here. You know, LeBron had a good game. He barely missed. Reeves had a great game getting them back into it. Hachimura was awesome. So it's like both sides are saying, yeah, you're not going to do that again.
Both teams ain't shooting 55%.
Probably not.
For the entire series.
Probably not.
But man, that was awesome. And the difference was just a little bit better shot making from the Nuggets. Going forward, I think the Lakers can't start small. I thought that was really a problem for them in the first half, coming out with Schroeder in the starting lineup, and they got killed on the glass because the Nuggets have really good size basically everywhere. MPJ, he's 6'10". The guy had 2 blocks last night on the little rear view contests. He's become a solid defender, and we saw so many times he's just shooting right over the top of Austin Reeves. Reeves is in his shorts, but it looks like MPJ is still a foot ahead of him, or above him, shooting the jumpers. KCP, he's 6'5". He's got a 6'8" wingspan. Big guy. Aaron Gordon, 6'8". He can jump out of the gym. They just got a lot of guys who are pretty sizable, which is why it was smart that Rui Hachimura played a lot more in the second half.
Yeah, what the Lakers do is they make you play your game, and that's what happened in the second half. They slowed everything down, and that's what I would be concerned about if I was the Denver Nuggets. It's not so much that Jokic would kill them in the half court if Rui's starting. He'd pick people apart. That's what he would do, but he wouldn't be able to bring the ball up like he was in the first half, I don't think. Rui would just be on him and be able to pick his pocket. So they just wouldn't play the same way. That's why they looked incredible. Jokic was their point guard, and they're running it down their throats. One adjustment the Lakers can make, I don't know, get back on defense. Maybe play better in the transition. I think that's just something they have to do. But I just wonder if it's a combination of starting Jared Vanderbilt and just putting him on Nikola Jokic, or Rui Hachimura, just guys that can steal the ball and not allow Jokic to do what he does. And then the Lakers feel like they win the game almost just because you're playing their game, and they slow it down and get to more of the dissecting the matchups, picking the matchups like LeBron going pick and roll and getting Jamal Murray on the switch that Malone countered a little bit, but it was pretty freaking late. I mean, it was a 3-point game at the end of this game. It was nearly a win here for the Lakers. So the Nuggets have to counter that better, and LeBron was feeling comfortable in that matchup. But I wonder, if that just changes the Nuggets' offense. That move, I don't know. It's in the half court, it would be a problem. A Rui or a Jared Vanderbilt, no doubt. But you're a win. It's a win if Anthony Davis is roaming. So they have to slow them down. Yeah, they take a chance on that, I think. I think Darvin Ham has got no problem starting. Vanderbilt probably, I would say.
Do you think Darvin Ham will do that in game 2 here, right from the jump, be it a Rui or a Vanderbilt? More size, like you were saying?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the two will be starting. It could be Vanderbilt because maybe then you keep Hachimura's punch off the bench, but I think Rui is a much better choice to play heavy minutes in this series than Jared Vanderbilt just because of the offense stuff. And I don't know. We'll see how Rui hangs against Jokic going forward. He did a really good job. He's big enough and strong enough that he can at least stay in front of him and put up some resistance until Anthony Davis is able to influence the shot as well. But my guess is that Jokic and Malone will be ready for it in game 2.
Right. You would think so.
Yeah, I think Jokic can just shoot more. I mean, I thought he was overpassing even in this game. He was getting cute. Yeah, he had 34 points.
There were a few in the fourth quarter, definitely.
Yeah, even early, I thought. Like 17 shots, 8 free throws to get to his 34 points. The dude could have shot 25 times. How many cute little tosses to the rim was he trying to get somebody a lob? 5 turnovers for him. I think he could have dominated even more, in all honesty. He is the best player out there. It is weird. He had 34. Davis has 40, but he outplayed his ass with the way everything was going through him. So if you just get the ball out of his hands, that's the Lakers' job. That's a win. I think if you have to just start a new guy. They have more skill and more talent out there. It's weird to say with a LeBron on the other side, but the Nuggets have that. And so just getting it out of his hands would be the victory, I think. But yeah, I think he could have had 50 if he just wanted to shoot more. He was a magic man out there.
258 combined points. That's a hell of a lot of points for a conference finals game here. When you get to the really good teams that are usually pretty good at defense, it's the highest scoring conference finals game that didn't go to overtime since 1987 when the Pistons crushed the Celtics 145-119. So a lot of points scored. Jamal Murray had 31 in this game, and it's like sort of overlooked. I thought he was pretty special, though, at the end of the first half when he went on like that little flurry there. He hit 3 basically 18-foot jumpers in like 75 seconds. Then he hit a couple threes to start the second half, which obviously were pretty instrumental when you get into the final score of this game. There were so many times where like Dennis Schroeder was just going,
yeah.
What should I do?
What do you want? What do we do? I don't know. What am I doing here? What are we doing? He did that so many times. You go back and watch this game. There's like so many possessions that end with Schroeder going, I don't know, his arms out. And
he's like, why do you have me going under screens?
Right.
Why am I going under screens against Jamal Murray?
Yeah.
Let me fight over the top, which they started doing.
Yep. That's it. That's definitely should be a change.
Players, man, they're smart.
I mean, Murray, man, when he gets it going, the guy's in the zone. The way he just floats backwards, and it looks like he's like gonna hit the ground before he releases his jumper. Especially when he touches paint and then does his little fadeaway. He like shoots it right at the last second. But yeah, everybody was scoring in this one.
He's important and we do overlook him for sure. I like how Michael Malone challenged a play, so a foul wouldn't be called on Jokic. It wouldn't be called on Murray. It would be called on Jokic midway through the fourth. Smart little maneuver there. Coaches just using their challenges real quick midway through the fourth. I loved it. It is a chess match already, as you said, Trey. The adjustments are already happening, and LeBron, I think, it's a good sign for the Lakers. It definitely felt like, he didn't miss shot. He was 9 of 16 in this one. The 3-ball's still not there for him. That's the worrisome part. But he was picking his spots, and I think he is fairly comfortable going at Jokic when he gets ahead of steam going. So that's a good sign. He was on the offensive glass and all that.
Well, he had a 3 that could have tied it, right? Pretty late.
Pretty bad 3. And not very close.
And he had the old LeBron smirk where he was like, oh, yeah. I mean, he felt like, if I hit that, we're winning this game. But
that was a hero ball shot.
Right,
he should have went to the rim. Yeah. He was unstoppable at the hoop, but he went to the hoop the next time and turned the ball over. Yep. Nice play by Jamal Murray on that one. I think the key for the Nuggets is they just shouldn't switch as much. No. They shouldn't give it up so easily. They were definitely trying to fight it. With like your scram switches and whatever, but you want Aaron Gordon on LeBron as much as possible, so I think that's probably going to be one of their main adjustments going forward, because when LeBron gets into the post and the way he was handling Murray, it looked like old LeBron from the Cavs when he would just completely control the pace, and they played a lot slower in the second half. That is completely Lakers basketball, but when you look at the final score, 132-126, those are Nuggets numbers. So this game was mostly played Nuggets style, and that's why they won.
Yeah, you could feel it. Even though the Lakers got their pace in the second half, they couldn't keep up with the scoring in the last few minutes. I mean, it was just too fast. The Nuggets are going to score more if you wanna start shooting threes. It's just not going to work. They just got to slow it down as much as possible. And those lazy switches in the first half can't happen. Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, they're obviously focused on Jamal Murray. It was way too easy. LeBron had 4 buckets in the first quarter, 3 of them just on, okay, let's just switch. But why? I mean, it really didn't make much sense. But he was picking his spots perfectly because that's what LeBron does. This is exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah. Who of the Nuggets, role players impressed you the most? Like, outside of Jokic and obviously Jamal Murray, the stars.
Wild,
was it
man.
Bruce Brown? Was it KCP, who had 21 and scored a ton in the second half? Michael Porter Jr., you talked about him taking advantage of his size. Like, of those 3 guys...
They all had moments.
Yeah.
They all honestly had moments. MPJ, I thought, played a really great game. He's become a really solid all-around player. 10 rebounds last night. I mentioned the blocks. He's been doing it all postseason. It's like they just figured out, hey, man, you might get beat initially off the screen, but just stick with it because you're 6'10", and most of the guys you're guarding are smaller. That was huge, I thought, the way he was contributing. KCP was a monster in the third quarter. Also had that crazy scoop layup over Davis in the fourth quarter that really helped put a dagger into the hearts of the Lakers. And then, Bruce Brown with the big dunk in the first half. It was more of a first half performance, I thought, for Bruce Brown. But we might see more of him if the Lakers are going to try and guard Aaron Gordon with Anthony Davis, because maybe you would like to have another playmaker like Bruce Brown out there, somebody who is going to make a play when it's a 4-on-3 and they want somebody else to have the ball.
Yeah.
KCP hitting mid-range shots, going to the hoop. That's gold. It's like Danny Green with the Spurs. It's almost like a no, yes when he does it. You just want him sort of shooting threes. Mm-hmm. But he was awesome in this game. He bailed out possessions. So he was
absolutely
really huge for them. Yeah, the Michael Porter Jr. defense is a mind-boggler to me. Didn't think this was going to happen with him. But he's totally comfortable taking his role. This is just an incredible team overall. And Bruce Brown, how the Nets let him leave, no idea how he's just able to sign this contract. I mean, he's their best player off the bench on a very thin bench, even though they have the 3 guys going, and the Jeff Green coming off the bench as well as part of the compost crew. That's another guy that the Lakers are going to leave, but I think he'll make them pay. He's not just going to shoot threes. I think he's going to make them pay at the rim. We're going to see one big Jeff Green dunk. They're just leaving him wide open, so he could have a couple big moments. But they're picking their battles. It's like watching PJ Tucker with the Sixers. They're just going to leave Aaron Gordon wide open. They're going to leave Jeff Green wide open too, and Christian Brown as well.
Did you have a favorite play in this game? Because it felt like there were 4 or 5 pretty awesome highlight plays.
Oh, man. I don't know. The one that sticks out to me that I wish we would have seen a review of, I think it's like LeBron grabs an offensive rebound and he just whips a pass over his head to Davis, I think, for a layup, and it just passed right by.
I think they showed a replay either coming out of a commercial or going to a commercial. Yeah, they did slip it in there, but that was sick. Yeah.
That was nice. I loved Jokic when he was bringing the ball up the left wing and he hit the little scoop going around Davis to the right and put a ton of English on it. He did my dad's move on the right block. Yeah. My dad texted me immediately. If anybody does a spin move from the right block, that's his move.
Your dad invented it?
Steve Kirby baseline spin. You'll see it every now and then. He passed it down to his son as well. Man, there were so many great plays. The Bruce Brown dunk was huge.
Yeah.
Jeff Green did try to get a highlight dunk. Didn't work out for him. I thought that play was very funny when he made the 3 from the corner. Davis was like, sorry, man. It's not 2012 anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm hanging out here. Jeff Green shooting 27% from 3 this playoffs?
Yeah, weird.
I didn't realize that, but made a huge one last night.
Yeah, I would add to the list here, there was a couple sick, surprise, Jokic dimes to a cutting KCP. There were 2 in particular in this game that were amazing. How about the KCP to, I believe, Murray to Michael Porter Jr. on that fast break slam? That was awesome. And then the Jokic 3 over Anthony Davis at the end of the third quarter, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one where the look of disbelief from AD,
He's laughing.
Hilarious reaction. Come on, man. You can't also hit that. You can do everything else. You can't also be hitting that. And the way Jokic, he does the sheepish sort of slump, goes over to the bench. So that was a huge shot too, obviously, that extended the lead a little bit more.
Shot.
Yeah, they got the AD grin. I wish they got the Jokic giving him a face first, because it was hey, What are you going to do? I'm having one of those nights. You're talking dads. I mean, that's the driveway dad shot, just the step back, just fling it. That was the one I showed my daughter, the replay of that one, because that's a marvelous shot. I mean, it's 35 feet with a guy, a 7-footer in your face, and the great shot from behind him. I tried to explain to my daughter how far that shot is, but I don't think she really understood at the age of 5 how far that shot was. She just kind of looked away. Should have gone with maybe the Michael Porter jam, the Bruce Brown jam. A lot of jams from the Nuggets side, and I think they even missed a couple more. They could have had some other big ones on the break. That was the weird part in the first half of a Western Conference playoff game, the way they were just able to get out on the break that much, right?
Yeah.
That felt kind of different, and that's what the Lakers, I'm sure, will be preaching. But the Nuggets can say the same thing in the third quarter, how the heck we allowed them to score as much as they did. So we got a series, baby.
We got a series.
This was an awesome jersey matchup, too. I thought that looked... I like how that looked with the Lakers gold.
Mile High City,
and
man.
the Nuggets in those Mile High City blues. Whew! It just looked good. It was like, yeah, this looks like an important game. And then we're in. How about the start of this game with the shot clocks? Down in the corners. It didn't have any impact, it felt like, which is good.
Definitely didn't.
And they got it fixed at halftime, and then we were back to the normal clocks above the backboards. But
I gotta say, I agreed with Jeff Van Gundy. Like, just play it. If the shot clock part of it is fine, who cares about the game clock part if the 8 looks like a 9 or vice versa?
Yeah.
Whatever. They had backups, and they're like, whatever, we'll just play the first half like this. Nobody try and get close to a low shot clock. There probably wasn't a shot clock violation.
I was going to say, not many.
A lot of quick possessions, for sure.
I saw they commented on the broadcast that LeBron looked at it one time because he was in the corner and he was handling the ball for probably like 10 seconds. I mean, it was a long time before he made his decision. Even on a different play, Malone and the bench were complaining about a potential 5-second call on LeBron, or he was in the key for a long time. He was taking his time. There was a close-up of replay where he did some traveling, had the ball on his hip and all that. He was taking his time. He wants to slow this thing down. It's new LeBron. But he's still good LeBron.
No one's his thumbs up, I thought, was hilarious. Oh, yeah. That was like, it harkened back to Paul George versus LeBron when they dapped up in the Eastern Conference Finals, Miami, Indiana, all those years ago. But this one was just like so much more dorky. I thought LeBron hitting the single thumbs up and Jamal Murray back with the 2 thumbs up. I wanted somebody else like to pop in. Boop, boop.
There is a lot of respect for these two teams to each other. A lot of helping each other up. A lot of pats on the ass. And, hey, hell of a shot.
Davis and Jokic were like helping each other up all the time.
Yeah, we'll see if it changes come game 4 or 5 or whatever. I was going to say, I assume nobody's predictions heading into this series has changed after 48 minutes of basketball. You had Nuggets in 6, I had 7, and you had the Lakers in 7. I mean, we're all saying it's going to be a hell of a series, but... Yeah, I guess I'm asking you. Are you changing?
No, I mean, the Nuggets still haven't lost at home yet in the playoffs so far. So I think Game 2 is going to be huge. I don't think we're going to see scores in the 120s and 130s in this one in Game 2. But, I mean, the series still feels very, very close. Still changes to be made on both sides. So I ain't pivoting quite yet.
No, I definitely... believe in Darvin Ham in the way he's adapting really well. That's a great sign that he's doing it mid-game, mid-quarter. I thought Malone was a little too slow to make his adjustments. So the Lakers have that going for them. At least they're ready to pivot, or Dennis Schroeder will call it from the floor as well, to say, hey, I should be fighting for these Jamal Murray shots. But, I mean, that's the thing. We said it, but we overlook Jamal Murray a little bit. Like, they have shot makers everywhere. Aaron Gordon is the one guy who could play a heck of a lot better, too. Yeah. He just wasn't really aggressive. So as much as I say it felt like a win for the Lakers, and you're saying, the Nuggets fans will say, can Davis drop 40 again? Can Rui do this again? Can Reeves do that again? You could say that about Nuggets players.
Of course.
Aaron Gordon can get way better. Jeff Green can get way better. Christian Brown, maybe the lights will be a little bit less bright in this one. So there's lots of improvement to do.
Any other random notes from you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Game 1 of the list. I got a few, but you go ahead.
Yeah, Mark Jackson at half. Did you hear him say, he was talking, everybody was just marveling about Nikola Jokic. Yeah. Jokic.
I mean, his stat line at the half was pretty insane.
It was dumb. I mean, he had 10 boards with 4 minutes left in the first quarter. The numbers, okay. But the funny thing is, Mark Jackson said, this is a guy who was picked last at All-Star Weekend. He was duped. He was duped by the picking. Remember?
Oh yes, right.
He was duped by the.
He was duped with his MVP ballot recently, and then at All-Star Weekend they picked the reserves first, and then they picked the starters second. So Jokic was the last starter pick, but they did that to preserve the feelings of the reserves, so they wouldn't be the last pick. And he said Jokic was the last pick. He's been duped a couple times now. You've been duped, but I guess it worked because they were trying to help. They were trying to, preserve the feelings of James Harden or whoever was going to be picked last. Weird one there.
I got a few other broadcasting notes. I love any time a broadcast team is like talking up a player, and then that player like hits a three or has a big dunk. It happened in last night's game. Mike Breen loves to drop the right on cue when it happens. They were talking about Bruce Brown and the impact and that signing and all that. And he hit a three, and it was in the first quarter. Right on cue, said Breen. Always loved that. I laughed out loud when Jeff Van Gundy was trying to tell me Brendan Malone should be in the Hall of Fame as a coach.
What? Oh, I missed that.
It's like, whatever, put him in two. I worked.
He was leaning into a bit. I get it a little bit. Brendan Malone coached 100 NBA games. He lost 71% of those games. All right.
Well, he's the Raptor man.
That's right. He went 21-61 with the expansion Raptors, and he went 8-10 as a head coach in taking over a Cleveland Cavaliers season when LeBron was there, young LeBron, 04-05. But come on. Otherwise, he's been an assistant coach, a long-time assistant coach, a great assistant coach, but he is not Hall of Fame worthy, so that made me laugh out loud.
No, but it is funny that all of the Nuggets coaches are sons.
Yeah, and that's what he was going
sons,
on.
Yeah.
That's right. And Popeye Jones.
And Popeye Jones.
Who has a son in the NHL. I was like,
Not
what?
quite the same.
It was so strange. It's like, okay.
That guy's got kids. And these guys were kids of other parents.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I also thought Breen let a bang slip when he didn't necessarily want to let it slip.
Yeah.
It was Reeves, right? Hit one of his many threes from the left wing. Big shot, no doubt about it. I think there was maybe 4 minutes left.
I made a note. It was 2:15 left to bring the Lakers.
He's like, Austin Reeves, bang!
Yeah.
Like it came out because it felt like a big momentum shot, but it hadn't quite tied the game, It wasn't super late. It was a non-committal bang, I thought, from Breen.
Premature bang?
Premature bang, yeah.
Mike Breen. I agree with that. I caught that too. And you're right. He didn't commit 100% to it.
No. It was like a 70% bang. It felt
mid-bang, he was like, no, I should have saved that. The only other question I have is, I don't know how early you guys got into the game. Did you have any thoughts or did you hear, is the musical artist Her? She had the song The Journey that they were using for the intro to the Western Conference Finals, or at least in the ESPN playoff package here. It's pretty chill. On one hand, I was like, wasn't getting me pumped up enough. And on the other hand, I was like, they sort of kept it going while they're then talking coming into the game. I was like, that sort of works. So I don't know if you guys had any takes on it or everybody on the stream team.
I didn't realize that was the song.
I'm pretty sure that's Her. The Journey, I think it's called. Yeah. Okay. Well, notice it the next game.
I always wonder, Her or Her? Young Ma or Young M.A.? I never know. I never know.
Probably wrong. I don't know. Yeah.
Probably not.
All right. Well, let us know all your thoughts on the game from last night in the stream team, all you podcast listeners. You can tweet them in @NoDunksInc or drop them in the YouTube comments if you want to. I think that's enough. Very excited about this series. It was awesome. I love these
basketball,
8:30.
man.
Hey, these
cool.
8:30 starts for us East Coasters. Whew. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Not too early. Because sometimes, those 7 o'clocks and all that, you're like, I just want to enjoy my dinner.
I'm trying to eat a steak.
Yeah, man, but not too late. The game's over by, 11:30? Easy. So all of them are starting at 8:30, right?
Yep. Every
conference finals and finals.
No, there's a sneaky 8 o'clock Sunday start in the finals. Okay. But all conference finals are at 8:30. I wonder how the West Coasters feel. A 5:30 start. I mean, I'd like it at 8. Let's be honest. I'd like it. I'd like an 8 start.
Well, it's not really 8:30 either on ESPN at least, right?
Yeah.
It's an 8:40,
they had to chat. They had to chat a bit.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll get to the draft lottery. Don't go anywhere.
This classic episode of No Dunks is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burned out. Ain't that right? Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life, so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries, and therapy empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you need help keeping your pants up, try BetterBelt. But if you're trying to find more balance, start with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/nodunks today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/nodunks for 10% off your first month.
As many of you know, I was recently up in Toronto for my sister-in-law's wedding. Had an absolute blast. The lovely couple, Adam and Aline, had it in the Distillery District. Great area in Toronto. Weather was amazing. Drinks and food, A+. DJ was fantastic. Great wedding. 10 out of 10. No notes. Would do it again. Not theirs, of course. They're in it for the long run. I just mean another wedding like theirs. Even if it costs a pretty penny, which we all know weddings do, and you got the flights and maybe hotels and rental cars, gifts, it all adds up. Thankfully, looking sharp all wedding season long doesn't need to be expensive. With a custom fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. You can customize every detail on your suit, your shirt, dinner jackets, more in a range of different colors, from a traditional black or a gray to a burgundy or an olive to a classic Hemsworth navy. I've done a few pieces on Indochino, a couple shirts, a couple pants. I love Indochino's online customization. So easy. Because if I can do it, you know it's easy. And every suit is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize just everything. Like every detail, you can create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly with options for fabrics, lapel shapes, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They also have tuxedos starting at $579, which is an absolute steal. Why rent when you can just buy a custom tux that you can re-wear for years to come? Adam, actually the groom, he had bought a tux. I was like, wow, that's a good looking rental. He's like, nah, straight bought it. Huh, damn, baller move, man. RSVP knowing you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use the code NODUNKS to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's INDOCHINO.com, promo code NODUNKS. All right, if you're joining us live on YouTube, thank you. Hit that like button. Help your boys out at NoDunks. The Spurs got the lucky lottery bounce last night, winning the 2023 NBA Draft Lottery and the right to select the French super prospect Victor Wembanyama with the number 1 overall pick. San Antonio owns the number 1 pick in the draft for the 3rd time in franchise history. The 2 other times, they selected David Robinson in 1987 and Tim Duncan in 1997. My favorite meme I saw on Twitter last night was the Breaking Bad Jesse Pinkman. You can't keep getting away with this! Just screaming. Feels true. Every time they're bad, over the last 40 years, they just win the number 1 pick. And potentially, for the 3rd time, a Hall of Fame center here in Wembanyama. What do you think here?
Well, it's always fun to see the Wembanyama highlights because it's like, man, this guy was created in a video game. Well, let's make a really, really, really tall guy who can step back, hit threes, go grab his own offensive rebound when he misses a 3. Like, he looks like a video game.
You're like, I'm putting the sliders up on height to 100 and the weight down to 0.
Yeah.
You got Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, I'll put the 3s up to 99. Why not?
Nora
Unbelievable.
asked this morning to see his highlights. I was like, are you ready for this? Like, it's early in the morning. I don't know if you're ready. And she was in awe. She's like, this feels fake, exactly like you guys are saying. Then she dropped a basketball take on me. She's like, so he's just like a supersized Kevin Durant? I was like, oh, shit. You have been absorbing some NBA knowledge over the last 20 years. But yeah, they are crazy.
Does she think he's the best prospect in the history of team sports?
No, she still thinks it's Wayne Gretzky. But anyway, Spurs fans, ecstatic. Shea Serrano
back, baby.
Going nuts. I mean, look. Okay, if he couldn't go to your Bulls, if he couldn't go to our Raptors, Spurs is not a bad landing spot for a guy with his talent and obviously his aspirations in this league, because he goes to an organization that's like proven, has a track history of like taking obviously good talented players and making them to Hall of Famers. He's under Greg Popovich, for crying out loud, under his tutelage. So that's good. And maybe there's like the less pressure being in San Antonio if you buy that, outside of going to another organization that maybe expects to win more right away or is a bigger media market. Some people believe that too. So
yeah, there wouldn't have been pressure, I don't think, in a Charlotte or something like that. I would have rather it happened to a team that didn't lose on purpose. Like Charlotte just happened to be very, very, very bad this season. San Antonio traded DeJounte Murray, their best player, before the season started. So if you want to pick some nits, it's just obviously it's going to be a good scenario for him. It's just wild. They're never bad, and when they are, they get the number 1 pick.
They tanked 1 year.
Yep.
They tanked this year. That's it. They were the number 10 seed the past 2 seasons before this, when they had DeJounte Murray, DeRozan for a little bit there. This is perfect. This is honestly the perfect place for him to go. There's no other stars in San Antonio. Nobody they drafted high recently who you look at and say, there's going to be a beef here with Victor Wembanyama. He's clearly the star. It's not the same as going to a Jalen Green team where he's like, I was just drafted number 2.
Right.
It's perfect. You got the French connection. Look at how many French players have played for the Spurs over the years. Tony Parker posted a picture today of Victor Wembanyama. Impossible to tell how old he is, but he looked like a child.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's probably 6'5" already at that point. He's wearing a Tony Parker Spurs number 9 jersey with the champion C on it. That's how long Victor Wembanyama has been Spurs pilled by the French national team captain, Tony Parker. It's unbelievable stuff. You even look at the players that they do have around, you're like, Jeremy Sohan, he could be Boris Diaw to Tim Duncan on the Spurs. So now, I mean, the only question to me is, like, how long is Greg Popovich going to coach? Like, is he going to coach another 10 years because he wants to go as far as he can with this guy? Or is he going to set everything up perfectly and then hand the reins off to somebody else?
Right.
But, man, it's cool. It's cool that he made it to the Spurs. I was messaging him with Graydon, big Spurs fan. He said, make sure you let the guys know that the Spurs won because they wanted it more.
Maybe it's true.
They're so good. They're so good at tanking. I mean, they tanked 1 year, but they tanked 1 year for Duncan, too. Got him.
Yeah.
They just keep doing it. The tanking works for them. Doesn't work for every other franchise, but for them, they're 2 for 2.
Hollander has a great article up on The Athletic, wondering now how quickly the Spurs rebuilt with the idea of Victor Wembanyama coming in. They have a ton of cap space. They have some young talent, but obviously need to fill out this roster. And it's just like, how aggressive do you go if you're San Antonio? I would assume they don't. I think you sort of wisely slow play it, get him in, get him accustomed to the NBA action and all that, and go from there, because you have Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, you got Sohan, and you got a bunch of other rookies that showed some promise, and Malachi Branham and stuff like that. So, I don't think they will rush, but you're a vet in this league. You're someone's looking for obviously a paycheck and an opportunity. Maybe the San Antonio Spurs are suddenly a lot more appealing to you if the French kid is the real deal in the NBA. But it's a fun article that Hollander has up there. Highly recommend it. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks. Get yourself a subscription. Well, let's look at the rest of the draft lottery results. The Hornets went number 2, followed by the Portland Trailblazers jumping up into the 3rd spot. Rockets falling to 4th. Pistons falling all the way to 5th. Remember, it was San Antonio, Houston, and Detroit with your best odds last night for the number 1 pick, a 14% chance. So they drop out. And then it's the Magic, Pacers, Wizards, Jazz. Mavs keep their pick at 10. Magic again at 11, taking the Bulls pick. OKC at 12, Raps 13, and the Pelicans 14. Any other, outside of the Spurs, any other winners or losers from last night's draft lottery? What do you got, TK?
I mean, 2 and 3 are definitely winners. Charlotte bumping up and the Blazers bumping up. I mean, I think Charlotte has a super interesting choice because Scoot Henderson has been the guy who's kind of been looked at as the number 2 pick. A lot more buzz for Brandon Miller as the NCAA season went on. LaMelo Ball's already there. He's a rookie of the year and an established all-star point guard, but would it be nice to have Scoot next to LaMelo Ball? That's NBA Jam potential right there. Do you want Brandon Miller for fit? You need a wing? Or do you trade it, the number 2 pick, to somebody who really, really, really wants Scoot? Maybe an Orlando Magic team? Do you even trade LaMelo because you think Scoot's a better prospect? Charlotte is interesting. The Blazers getting up to number 3. That changes things for them. 1 and 3, very, very different. Because now, to me, 3 seems like a huge trade chip. Like, I think the Blazers are going to definitely trade number 3 because the timeline is just off for Damian Lillard to stick around waiting for Miller or maybe Scoot Henderson to get to be a real contributor in the Western Conference, whereas now you could trade 3, Nurkic, something else, to get a real player alongside Damian Lillard. So I think they did really good last night.
What about the other path? Keeping the number 3 pick and trading Damian Lillard and going Simons, Sharp, your number 3 pick, whoever it is, and like rebuild. No way, Jose.
They should have done it before this season when they could have maybe gotten Victor Wembanyama. I don't think now is the time to do it.
What do you think the Blazers do?
Oh, they traded. I think there's a good possibility the teams that didn't get Victor Wembanyama 2 through 5 trade their picks. I think it could be one of those special drafts. The Pistons dropping from 1 to 5, the biggest loser. I mean, they had the possibility, along with 2 other teams, to get the number 1 pick. They have to trade their pick, right? I don't think they stick around and get another young player when they've got just so many of them. So I assume that pick is traded. Rockets at 4. I think they have to consider trading their pick as well. Do they keep going young with already young, really, really solid parts and Şengün and Jabari Smith and Jalen Green? I don't know. I'm convinced that the Blazers are going to trade their pick at number 3. I'm buying that. I think they go the other route. I just think you'd rather buy into Dame, even though he's older, than the possibility of a number 3 pick being really great. Because after Victor Wembanyama, you don't know how great these guys are going to be. And the Hornets at number 2 is extremely interesting. I imagine they keep their pick. But who knows? Jordan's selling this team now that he didn't get Victor Wembanyama. That's what I'm convinced of. That's all I know with the Hornets. But yeah, there are other exciting prospects. Scoot Henderson, we saw him in person. He's an exciting prospect. So he'll be fun to watch, and he'll be a fan favorite. That's for sure. But there's no lock of any of these guys being stars outside of Wembanyama.
Yeah, the biggest loser probably is the Pistons, who had the league worst record, 17-65, and they're picking 5th, marking the 5th straight season that the team with the NBA's worst record will not select first overall. Now, a lot of that's the weighted odds there at the top now. But another loser, it's got to be the Washington Wizards. I don't know if you guys saw this. Ben Golliver, he's back in the secret draft lottery room with your Zach Lowe's and your Fred Katz and all those people watching the actual ping pong balls in the machine. The winning ping pong ball combo, according to Ben Golliver, I've seen Zach Lowe confirm this, was 14, 5, 8, and 2. That was the 4 numbers in order. After the first 3 numbers were picked, 14, 5, and 8, the Wizards had 6 of the possible 11 remaining numbers. So they needed either a 7 to come up, a 9, a 10, an 11, a 12, or a 13. If that is that last ping pong ball number, the Wizards would have had the combo and would have obviously had Victor Wembanyama. Ooh. Oh, and I think that happened to the Wizards not all that long ago, too. Like a couple drafts ago where they missed out on, 1 ping pong ball number, the last one, that would have given them the number 1 pick. Instead, they're exactly where they always are, Trey. 8th.
Yeah, they love it,
Good
man.
old
They love
8th.
it. Couldn't send Wembanyama to the Wizards, though.
No, maybe not.
Couldn't send him to the Blazers. There are a lot of teams you don't want to see Victor Wembanyama on, but the Spurs is nice. I hear you. Pistons, the worst loser dropping-wise, but I think it's worse for the Rockets because they haven't got to pick number 1. And now look at who is in the division right now with the Houston Rockets. Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant. Who knows what's going to happen there, but still a great player. New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Williamson. Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic. San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. Houston Rockets, who's their star?
Right.
Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Şengün. Nobody on the level of those 4 guys who are all going to be multiple-time All-Stars for the next 5 seasons, likely. So I think that's a tough one. I got to give an out to my guys. Tough one for the Bulls. Yeah. Lost their pick to the Magic last night. I knew it was over when Dalen Terry showed up in a T-shirt. So they've traded Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., the 11th pick this year, for 1 playoff win with Nikola Jokic. They also lost their 2nd-round pick to the Wizards from an old trade, and they lost the 2nd rounder they traded for in the Lonzo Ball tampering investigation. So the Bulls have 0 picks in the draft this coming season. Both of those trades that they lost picks on for this season, Otto Porter trades. They lost one trading for Otto Porter, and then they lost one when they traded Otto Porter away. But man, seriously, that month when they were in first place was sweet.
Vucci baby.
It was awesome.
Cooking.
It was
wow,
amazing.
that is crazy. Yeah, the Magic with the 6th and 11th picks, like you guys were talking about. Yeah, can you put those two together to move up to? Could you be in play at all for a Scoot or something like that, or one of the Thompson twins?
Should.
You know, something like that. I think could be in play with 6th and 11th. Yeah. The Knicks, I guess, also sort of a mini loser, not getting the Mavericks pick.
True.
Dallas
True.
a winner, holding on with that 10th pick. If they had gone a little higher, it goes to the New York Knicks. But it's Dallas's, and they need it for sure in terms of either drafting a player or putting that together in a package. Yeah, there could be a lot of deals here with these picks. Potentially being swapped around because of positioning and players you want, needs you want, or we want more like players that can help us win now and you're more interested in the future. Moving on. The 76ers fired head coach Doc Rivers on Tuesday, just 2 days after they fell in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals to the Celtics. Rivers, great regular season record, .653 win percentage when he was with Philly in his 3 seasons, including 54 victories this year, which was a franchise most since the Iverson days back in 2000-2001. But Game 7's defeat marked the 9th straight time that Doc Rivers lost with a chance to reach the conference finals. That still sounds fake to me. That guy had 9 consecutive losses that would have put his team to the conference finals. Doc gone. No one's really all that surprised, especially after we've seen Budenholzer get canned and Monty Williams get canned and Nick Nurse before that. I mean, he had 3 chances here to get them further than Brett Brown could, and he couldn't.
And the way they got torn apart in Game 7, where you lost the guys on the floor, really. I mean, he wasn't motivating Embiid to be Embiid, and I think he lost the relationship with James Harden as well. So I'm guessing the Sixers are going to try and bring James Harden back if this is the move here. But, a combination of the way they fell apart. It's got to be on the coach to some degree in Game 7 there, and his relationship with Harden, which usually at the end, right after a game, a guy will say, we missed shots or whatever. How's your relationship with Doc Rivers, with your coach? Oh, it's good. He just said, it's okay. And I think at the end of Game 6, when they went to Maxey and Embiid in the pick and roll, that was Doc's choice, and Harden was sort of off the ball. I think that probably killed it with James Harden, who was a good number 2 for some games, 45 and 42, obviously, in that series, and then had 5 bad other games. So it's got to be on Harden as well, but Doc's paying the price for sure. And I think it's fair not in his eyes, because he said, all these guys losing jobs. You keep your coach around, keep the culture around. But at the same time, they got blown out. And so I think that has to be on the coach to some degree. I mean, you have to get your guys to play a little bit harder than that. And the operation, the schemes were just thrown out the window, and they stopped playing. So I think that has to be on Doc to some degree.
It's 3 strikes and you're out in Philadelphia. Brett Brown had 3 chances with Joel Embiid in the playoffs. They didn't make it to the conference finals. Doc Rivers had 3 chances with Joel Embiid in the playoffs. They didn't make it into the conference finals. I agree with you a little bit, Tess. I think it's a little bit of scapegoating Doc because it's easier to get rid of your coach than any of the other moves that are out there. I think Doc was probably worse in Game 6, just completely unable to get Embiid the ball down the stretch than he was in Game 7, where it was really on Embiid and Harden to me, coming out and just not playing basketball. I think it's also, like you're mentioning, it's a good time to fire a coach because it's likely that a guy like Doc gets picked up by another team and you don't have to pay out the last 2 years of his contract, which I think is probably another factor in this decision, because Doc's going to still be in demand if he wants to coach. Maybe he'll go back and do some media or something like that, but he gets regular season results. If your team loses a star in the middle of the season, you're probably not going to take a step back because Doc gets really good performances during the regular season out of a team full of role players. We've seen that a lot. He got the best out of Joel Embiid as well.
Yeah.
He finished second in MVP 2 straight years, won it this year, and has gotten a lot better since Doc Rivers took over in Philadelphia. But man, this is a crucial hire now for the Sixers, deciding what they're going to do to see who's coaching the team next, because the Embiid clock is ticking, and if they're making their choices based on who James Harden wants as a coach, that is a mistake.
What do you mean by that? Mike D'Antoni as a possibility?
I mean, he's in the mix. He's in the mix. He's an old fella as well, 71 years old, 72, maybe something like that. But I don't know. Harden, a guy who's got a foot out the door, might not even be coming back. He kind of has the franchise. Is there another word for by the balls? Because I don't really want to say it, but I did. But he's got the franchise by the balls right now. And if he's the one calling the shots, it's Jover for Philadelphia. Joel Embiid needs to be calling the shots. You need to do what he wants, not what James Harden wants.
Yeah, because the part of this, if Harden leaves in free agency, is Philadelphia. They don't have cap space to really replace him at all because of their books as they're currently constructed. They would have a mid-level exception if he leaves, but, we're talking a little over $12 million to try and supplement its roster if Harden decides to go back to Houston. Like, is Harden just like, I'm sort of over trying to win a championship. I gave it a little bit of a go.
I tried, man.
Let me just go back, get paid a lot, put up some stats, no pressure. I mean, seriously, maybe he looks at it that way. I don't know.
Apparently, Phoenix is now an option for James Harden.
Yes,
that would be hilarious.
I thought William Liu on the Raptors show did have a good point of all these high-profile coaches being canned here recently, and he wondered, Will did, if this is a product of parity a little bit. And I was thinking about it. I think there's some truth to it. All these, again, talented coaches for sure. Coaches that have won championships or gone to the finals. I'm talking Budenholzer, Doc, with the Celtics way back in the day, and Monty Williams. They get canned here because it's the league is so open. It's hey, we should be that team. Is maybe what front offices and organizations are saying. I know, man. I know it feels like we're cutting you pretty quick here, but this is wide open here. And we should be in conference finals or winning championships. I think there's some truth to that, at least right now, this little window, because it used to be LeBron James in the Eastern Conference. He was going to the finals. And, the Warriors dynasty was their whole thing for a while. And now it's we talked ourselves, at least during the regular season, there's 7 or 8 teams that could win this whole thing. And I think still fairly. Well, 3 of them just fired their coaches that we had on that list for sure being the ones that could go all the way. So I think he's right. I think Will's right with just this quick movement on high-profile names that have had some success, regular season success, and even championship success in a couple of their cases.
Sure. Also, you've got the MVP in James Harden. So, I mean, that's just a huge part of this one specifically, that he lost the locker room to some degree.
You meant Embiid. Yeah. I mean, Harden did win an MVP, so I was a little perplexed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, the MVP and Harden, I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good recipe here.
Well, yeah. I mean,
this was their best chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game 6,
and they stopped playing for him when you're getting spanked by 25. I mean, they were just done to some degree. There in Game 7.
It would only be right if all these teams that fired their coaches just swap them up. Let's see if this means anything.
Swap them up.
All right, Doc, I don't know. You go to Phoenix. Budenholzer, you're going to Philly. Who am I forgetting? Monty Williams, you're going to Milwaukee.
Nurse.
Oh, yeah, Nick Nurse in the okay, we got to put him in the yeah. Just do it. It's what's probably going to happen anyway.
It's going to be interesting to see. It's Philadelphia can't hire Monty Williams. He's Doc 2.0. He's the same guy. They're best friends. Except for, I think Monty said, Doc is a country club guy. I put worms on hooks.
So one golfs, one fishes?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. They're just all about inspirational sayings, maybe not changing things. Can't hire Mike D'Antoni. Very uncreative. Houston 2.0.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse is when I look at Philadelphia, I'm right personality, a fiery personality in Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
He loves making adjustments. But there's nothing scarier to me than the idea of Nick Nurse coaching Joel Embiid.
Oh, my God.
There's no way he could handle the minutes. Simply impossible for Joel Embiid to play Nick Nurse-style minutes. He couldn't play playoff minutes in the playoffs, let alone for 82 games in the regular season. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. The key here, to me, would be don't hire any of the retreads. They're not going to do that, but you don't want to hire a retread.
Yeah.
They're usually not that good. There's a reason they've been fired at some point, whereas you look at the 3 longest tenured coaches, Popovich, he was a first-timer. He's been there forever. Steve Kerr, first-timer. He's been there forever. Eric Spoelstra, first-timer. He's been there forever. That's how you build a culture. That's how your team actually stays a franchise and a team rather than having different era.
So 5 head coaching vacancies now that we've got Philly in the mix. It's fascinating because we keep forgetting about the Detroit Pistons, or I do, that they do need a head coach.
They're getting an assistant.
Yeah, they're going to go probably the very young new assistant level, or at least approach for sure. All right, we got to take a final break. When we come back, Tess has got Tweet of the Night. Don't go anywhere.
This episode is brought to you by Philo. How do you get your TV? Still doing cable? Going illegal? Borrowing mom's password? Hey mom, what's the password? Well, Philo is a solution for your TV problems. Philo has shows, movies, and live TV for just $25 a month. No contracts, no commitments, no hassles. Just a better way to watch TV. And Philo has an unlimited DVR for 1 year. Philo also allows for multiple profiles and multiple streams. Everyone in the house can have their own saved shows and up to 3 simultaneous streams. Never fight over who gets to pick what to watch. Philo has classics like Friends, kids shows like Paw Patrol, and current bangers like Yellowstone. And Philo has more than 70 channels like VH1, AMC, HGTV, BET, the History Channel, TLC, MTV, and Vice. Watch from all your devices. Signing up is easier than beating the 76ers. Try it yourself with their 7-day free trial. Sign up today at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. And use promo code NODUNKS to get 50% off your first month.
All right, let's get to Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Tweet of the night, usually we have some jokes, some laughs. Not today. Ja Morant has issued a statement, his first statement, since being on another live stream where he was holding a gun. And we have the statement here. I read it, quote, "I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey, and I recognize there is more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself." We also have his statement from the previous time he was caught on Instagram Live holding a weapon. Quote, "I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." Pretty similar statements. I do want to ask, we talked about it on Monday because this incident happened over the weekend, but before we get to additional thoughts, the timing of this, which was a fourth quarter news dump, it felt like.
Yeah,
exactly right.
During the Western Conference Final, Game 1. What's just to slip it in there, I've got to say something. It's been 3 days now, and to slip it in where it could be shelled as quickly as possible, because that's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, post-draft lottery, late in an entertaining Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is exactly what they did, or tried to do. But you did have Adam Silver being asked about the incident on television last night, and he sounded, for Silver, pretty damn pissed off.
Definitely.
And if you're reading into his words and his body language and how he was addressing it for the second time, I think you take away the idea this could be a pretty hefty suspension. That's what I was getting from him.
100% agree. Yeah. And I mean, Adam Silver hit it right on the head. He's like, there are millions of kids who could have been watching you. And that's a huge, huge problem and a disappointment. It's like, I'm sure Adam Silver is feeling like you lied straight to my face and then completely embarrassed me months later. So they're doing their investigation now. But yeah, I totally agree with Silver's response and the kind of the tenor of his comments that it feels like it will be a long suspension for Ja once the season rolls around.
Because he did meet, as you said, after the first incident, they had that long conversation apparently where they chatted about everything, while Morant did his therapy session in Florida and then had that interview with Jalen Rose. Yeah, there was a chat between him and Silver, and that's why Silver said he was shocked by this second incident. Didn't think it would happen again. That was the word that he used with Malika Andrews on ESPN. And this obviously should be a long suspension. I think there's speculation for a big range from double digits, I guess would be the sort of the low point, considering he got 8 for the first one. to something like a full season. And I think it's definitely going to be in the at least half a season range, and I think it should be at the very least. And I do like how the NBA has a no-nonsense policy about this. So, had to slip it in because this is a superstar in the league that has done this once again.
How quickly do you think Silver in the league slapped the suspension on Ja Morant? I mean, it could, in theory, go all summer long. I mean, really, if they didn't want to, or do you think they will try and during Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, as soon as LeBron is hitting a buzzer beater, say that Ja Morant has been suspended, 30 games for next season? Like, do you think this comes sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I would think so. The NBA acts pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be weird. It would be strange. It'd be off to wait
until like September and then suddenly announce it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Grizzlies acted a lot faster this time around than the last time around, right? Like first time around, they're like, we're doing an investigation. They wouldn't want to say suspension right away, but they suspended him indefinitely. Obviously, the Grizzlies don't really have anything going on right now. It's like you can't use our gym, you can't eat our food. But I think that Silver will want the news out pretty quickly, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll have to remember it come next season.
I will say, whether or not you believe Ja Morant actually wrote these little PR apologies, either the first one or the second one, I saw people saying this feels like a chat GPT sort of response. I do at least appreciate the my words may not mean much right now. That is the one where everyone's like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
They mean sort of nothing, man, because you did this 2 months ago and said, you were remorseful and you had the redemption sweatshirts on the family and you talked to Silver and you had your Jalen Rose interview and you went to some counseling in Florida. And then, of course, you just turn around and do it really right again. Basically sort of the exact same thing. Yeah, they're not going to mean much of anything right now. It's going to be all action. And it'll probably come after the suspension. And I wonder if we hear from Nike. And do we hear from, Powerade, I believe he's linked up with too?
Yeah.
Because nothing really came of it the first time. He wasn't losing money with his sponsorship deals from the first incident. And I also keep forgetting there's a lot of other incidences, right, with his friends at the arena, the incident with this kid at his house, and that sort of lawsuit going on. There's other things that all piled up together is not a good look for one of the faces of the league. So we'll find out soon enough. I think you guys are right. This week, we find out how many games.
Seems likely, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear what everybody thinks. How many games does the NBA hand out to Ja Morant? If any. I know there's some people who think maybe not. Maybe not. We got a game 1 tonight, the Eastern Conference Finals. Heat, Celtics, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Anything in particular you're watching for in this one in Boston?
Well, I'm looking forward to that opening graphic. Who is starting in this match on both sides? Because there could be some pre-series moves, pre-series adjustments. Those Heat go smaller. They take Kevin Love off the floor. Go with Caleb Martin to be their Jason Tatum stopper to start this series. Or you want those Kevin Love 15, 20 minutes at the beginning of the first and third quarter? Probably. I imagine that's what they probably do. And then on the other side, we're going to stick with the Robert Williams big man rotation, Robert and Al Horford.
I think Missoula has said that, right? He's confirmed that Time Lord is starting. Yeah. At least that's what he said. Could be lying.
Lying Joe?
No, he's a straight up guy.
Yeah,
he's a Kawhi guy.
He ain't a liar, man.
He doesn't lie.
He's an honest fella.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I think this is actually probably a good series for the Celtics to go small eventually, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. Nailed that saying right there. Something I'm interested to see is how Jimmy Butler's moving. How good he looks, because you mentioned it yesterday, Tass. Lights out in the first series. 37 points per game. Dropped back to 25 points per game against the Knicks. He obviously rolled his ankle and got stepped on at the same time by Josh Hart. Looked like a bad one. Wouldn't look like the Jimmy Butler we saw in round 1. And if Miami has a chance in this series, Jimmy's got to be round 1 Jimmy Butler once again. So let's see how he looks. Hopefully awesome.
Yep. Excited. Game 1 tonight, Eastern Conference Finals. We'll be back tomorrow to break it all down here live from the Classic Factory, or, of course, wherever you download and listen to your No Dunks podcast. So join us at 10 a.m. Eastern live on YouTube, and we'll get it up in your feed as soon as possible. No bunts. don't forget to go check out that over at the Athletic Baseball Show. Tass and Joel having a lot of fun talking about the MLB. So go fire that up now that you're done with this classic. Thanks for joining us. Hit that like button, subscribe, and until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, there's 3 type of sportsmen. You're either a country club fella, either a fisherman fella, or you're a baseball man fella. Like Joel and I, those are the absolutely only 3
Golf,
sports.
fishing, and baseball.
Yeah, those are the only 3.
Brace the day, people.